What is employee turnover costing you? Steve here with the Janitorial Store, the channel where we help cleaning business owners scale their companies with systems, tools, and resources. Well, you know, employee turnover is very important. It can be just a nightmare for some companies. Some companies have a revolving door to where they have people just coming and going all the time. You know, and the thing is that it's not good. It really affects our business. The cost is it can be very high, so we want to try to manage that. First of all, think about some of the reasons why people even leave. You know, some of them reasons could be they're just personal reasons that they just decided to leave your business and go, you know, leave your company and go elsewhere. You know, they could have had other opportunities come up, which is understandable. You know, because most of us in the cleaning industry understand that we're generally just a stepping stone for good applicants to find you know, the job that they're really looking for. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. You know, but the thing is when you identify that, you know, you make the best of it, because those people, when they're with you 6 months or a year, can be a huge asset to you. So, other opportunities, that's understandable. And for the most reason why people do leave is because of management. Yeah, management just sucks, you know, and that's why they don't want to put up with it. And that's the biggest reason why they end up leaving. So if you have a high turnover rate, the first thing I would do is I'd look at management. Has your managers been properly trained on how to manage and communicate with employees? So do that, you know, because you have two different types of turnover. You got involuntary. That's where obviously you've terminated the employee for whatever reason, poor performance, you know, stealing or whatever. Then you got voluntary, and that's where they up and quit for one of those three reasons. So something to keep in mind, you know. But in either case, you know, the turnover is very important. So when we start thinking about calculating the turnover, what we do is that we generally can base it off of either monthly, quarterly, or annually. A lot of companies just do annual turnover rates. But you know what it does is when you calculate your turnover, it gives you some insight on your company's leadership, your systems, and your overall culture. You know, and that's very important. You know, that's why it's so important to measure turnover and try to get a handle on it. One thing you have to remember though about turnover, you have to also consider how much is it costing you for hiring and training an employee. So calculate that price into it when you're doing this. You know, the one thing that the cleaning industry always had a high turnover. Your average turnover for the cleaning industry is 200%. You know, that's crazy. You know, at one time I actually did a video on do you like being average? Well, I would say definitely not. You know, I would not accept a turnover rate of 200% in our cleaning business. You know, that rate would drive you crazy. So, you know, there's many reasons why you don't even want to go there to be that high or be lumped in the average column. So keep that in mind. But again, you know, like I said, you know, we can calculate our turnover three different ways. You know, we can either do it monthly, quarterly, or annually. And as I said, most commonly is the yearly. So, and if we were to do that, we would just use a formula to come up with it. So the first thing we got to do is that we got to start by calculating the average number of employees for a time period. So let's say we're going to do a 1-year period. It doesn't matter if it's January to January or whatever. Just do a 12-month period. So let's say we decide on that. We'll just say January to January. So we have a number of people at the beginning of the time period, and January 1 we got 50 employees. Then what we do, we add the number of employees at the end of the pay period. Say at the end of the pay period, next January 1, we've got 60 employees. Then what we do is we divide that by 2. So in that example, what we do is take 50 plus 60, that equals 110. We divide that by 2, that equals 55. So now in that 12-month period of time, we had 5 employees leave. So now what we do is we take the 5 employees, divided by the 55 equals 0.0909. You multiply that by 100, that equals 9.09% turnover. So that's really that's the formula. That's how you calculate your turnover. So go ahead and give it a try. Well, okay, I hope that you did the formula and you came up with your turnover percentage. Some of the things that we got to think about is, like I say, if we're in the cleaning industry and our turnover is around that 200% of the average, we have to do something about it. So we have to think about reducing our turnover. So what can we do to do that? Well, the first thing you want to do is that you want to implement a hiring and onboarding system. That's a must. The biggest reason I see a lot of people with turnover is because they have no hiring system or onboarding system. So essentially, they're hiring anybody off the street. You've probably heard of the mirror test. Well, you have them blow on a mirror, and if it creates a fog, well, then they hire them. Well, that's not the mentality you want when you're building your business. So that's the first thing you got to do, is that you have to improve your hiring and onboarding systems. Number 2 is offer competitive wages. Competitive wages, benefits, and work-life balance. And the thing is that you have to remember that when we're talking about competitive wages, we're not just talking other cleaning companies. You have to look at all of the businesses in your service area, because that's who we're competing against for good applicants. So when we're looking at that, look at the Amazons, if Amazon's in your city, and some of the other distribution centers, manufacturing, and some of these IT places. And just see what people are paying to attract entry-level applicants. That'll really help you determine where you want to be. And sure, you're going to be checking your competition too, so you know where you're at in your sector. But we still got to think about, because we're competing with the Amazons of the world, and that's pretty tough to do at times. But if we're in that type of a market, then that's what we have to do. Now, something else that you want to do is that number 3, you want to provide career growth opportunities. Personal development, very, very important. And that's why the Janitorial Store, we have the CSU Business Library. The Business Library has over 8,000 training videos in there, and a lot of our premium members, they use that for personal development of their teams and themselves. But you have to do that. You have to be offering something like that. That's going to help them grow personally and professionally. Now, number 4, you have to recognize your top performers. You have to. So many business owners don't recognize their team, and you have to. Generally, they're always coming back and they're talking about everything negative. So what happens is eventually the cleaning worker, whenever they see the supervisor or owner, they're just figuring, oh, okay, great, now what? Because they're always coming to them with negative things. So recognize them for the good things they do. So don't forget that. And obviously, if you're a performance-based company, your top performers, they matter. They really do. Number 5, you need to train your managers and supervisors. Yeah, that's a must. There's so many companies that don't do this. I don't get it. In most cases, what they'll do is that they'll promote somebody within, which is fine, but they'll take a frontline cleaner and promote them to a supervisor because they're a great cleaner. But yet then they don't give them the additional training that they need to learn how to manage people, to manage a crew, and how to manage accounts. And then the same thing goes for a manager. They'll have a supervisor that's doing pretty good, and then move them into a management position where, again, they don't offer any management training. So you have to do that. So make sure that gets done. Then number 6, you probably want to implement some regular surveys with your employees. It's a good way to see where people are at. And I always say, just have a conversation with your employees. Take the time to have a conversation. It's not all about business all the time. Find out, what they like, what they enjoy, what their hobbies are. You have a conversation with them. It really makes a difference. And number 7, you got to focus on your culture. Your culture hopefully is creating a positive company that promotes growth and celebrates employee success. Hopefully your culture is doing that. You know, if you're not sure about your culture, then what you can do is you can go ahead and go to the learning library on the Janitorial Store .com or myhousecleaningbiz.com. Go there and do a search for how to build a culture. You're going to find a lot of information on how to build a culture for your cleaning company, because you know the culture of your business plays a big part of your success. So those are the things you got to do if you want to really reduce turnover. There's 7 things to do. Again, you got to improve hiring and onboarding systems, offer competitive wages and benefits with a work-life balance, provide career growth opportunities such as personal development, recognize your top performers, and then train your managers and supervisors, and implement regular surveys and have conversations with your employees, and focus on that culture. So if you do that, I think you can turn things around and you won't fall in that average category of over 200% or 200% turnover for a cleaning company. So hopefully you got some value from this video, and if you did, feel free to comment down below or leave a like. And if you have not already, make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications to get the latest updates on new videos to help you grow your cleaning business. Thanks for checking in today, and let's keep it clean out there.